Here is something I want to put around the table.
Yes.
Is Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia being too selective? Is Mr. Jyotiraditya following a convenient logic? Is Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia stalling on the basic fact that he picks up the story of the last 100 years when it's convenient, 100 days, and then he's willing to go back 9 years when he's convenient? He wants to look at the law of averages for growth. He wants to look at the record of the last 100 days.
Okay, so can I buttress that comment that you made, Arnab, because it's an important point that you made?
No, but I know it's an important point.
No, it's an important point. So let me respond, because you pointed to an inconsistency in my argument, and you pointed to an inconsistency in my argument, and let me address that issue.
Yes,
you're absolutely right. So I think we need to go back in time. If you look at the 11th plan period addressing Navika's issue, 55 gigs of capacity has come on board in the 11th plan period. 20 gigs of that in the last financial year. It's more than the last 3 plans put together. So I think we have achieved traction. It may not be as much as we'd want, and I am working on it to make sure that it's much more fast-tracked.
Mr. Scindia, the question here is, and Ravi Shankar Prasad, let me get you in, and Sitaram, everyone on the table. The fact is, things have been stalled. Now we have a situation where the government says, we are doing things, we have become prudent. The argument could be that, you have forced yourself into a situation of extreme prudence. You are trying to push it and sell it to the people of India as a virtue. Ravi Shankar Prasad, do you accept the arguments put by Mr. Scindia so far on the speed of decision-making in the government last 2 months?
I'm a little curious, or not, becoming prudent in the 10th year of its government. That is something very surprising.
I can't hear him, Arnab.
As for all the power, let me take the infrastructure issue. I would like to make certain comments. All these decisions of power sector which he is talking about, do you know how much of public sector banks' money is involved in the financial closure of all the coal block allocations in the power project because of a scam? It is to the tune of 80,000 crores. I know for sure that Mr. Scindia had a very distinguished predecessor in power ministry who, because of his good performance, has been elevated as the Home Minister of India, Mr. Shinde. He made a public statement on the floor of my house, Rajya Sabha, where he presented a very gloomy picture about power sector investment. And I will trust the budget speech of Mr. Chidambaram more or Arnab Goswami than the statistics of Mr. Scindia to say that even the budget speech reflects upon the critical state of infrastructure. Flags the caution. If in the NDA regime, close to 15 to 18 kilometer roads can be constructed per day, it is reduced to 2 kilometers per day because of so much of corruption in the NHI, so much of CBI inquiry. Why this? Why investment in power sector is not coming? 68% of power India is coal-based, and what is happening in coal block allocations is too well to know. The entire reform sector in power, in port, in roads, critical for country's growth, and I'm sorry to say there is no difference of opinion, has almost come to a grinding halt. And all this has led to a situation where the economic space to Mr. Chidambaram was too restricted to give him any elbow room to go for big ticket ideas or big push. That is the critical issue. And do you think in the last 10th year it is going to be resolved? People are going to trust, people are going to invest. Forget FDI or no. Even domestic investment is not coming. Even domestic investors are quite anxious and worried. You cannot ignore those ideas by high-flown logic. I got this clearance. Newspaper after newspaper are full of delay at the clearance stage. We know it very well. Therefore, Arnab, I am very sorry to say that the kind of assurance which this budget ought to have given to stir up people's sentiment, investor sentiment for employment, etc., which is supposed to be the goal of Mr. Chidambaram, I am sorry to say is completely missing.
Well, I want to summarize this because Jyotiraditya Scindia only heard the very last part of that due to an audio glitch. I want to summarize it. An open challenge being thrown to you by Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, Jyotiraditya Scindia. You cannot be a student of prudence in the last year of your 10 years of governance. That's what the BJP says. Before you respond, Sitaram Yechury also wants to come in.
No, you see, I want to take the debate a little further ahead. You see, we are talking about investments and investments in your infrastructure, which are extremely important. There's no doubt about it.
Sure.
Left, right, center, everybody talks about it. But please do remember, infrastructure was built in every country of this world, from the United States away to the People's Republic of China. So the main player is the state. The state says, the private capital will only supplement.
Sure.
It cannot build it. It's never built it and never will. But the point is, where does the state get the resources from? I want to flag this issue, and I want you to please answer this.
Mr. Scindia, question from Sitaram Yechuri.
The finance minister has, in its own, this document of Statement of Revenue Foregone, has given a figure of 5,73,630 crores as the revenue foregone. And his fiscal deficit is 5,20,000 crores.
Wow.
53,000 crores
What's
more.
the increase in the revenue foregone compared to last year?
Last year it was 5,28,000. It has now gone up to 5,73,000.
So what are you reading then?
My reading is, if this revenue foregone was not foregone, there is no fiscal deficit in this country. And this monies, now much of this, I see Omkar nodding his head.
He says this is a standard left argument.
Hang on. I'm coming to you. I'm coming, Omkar. The 5,73,000, out of this, some of them may be in dispute, some of them may be in cases, etc. But what is realizable is more than sufficient for you to mop up, to invest in your infrastructure, not only economic but your social infrastructure, your health, education today in terms of proportion of the GDP. GDP has grown. In terms of the proportion of GDP is now lower.
Sita, I'm 100% with you that over the last 3 years, barring maybe the last 4 or 5 months, 6 months perhaps, over the last 3 years, there has been a complete stoppage in any form of infrastructure building, in any form of real reform of nation building that this government had the mandate to do after having got rid of you guys and having got more seats in Parliament.
Precisely.
They had the mandate to do it.
Precisely.
They didn't do it.
Why didn't they do it? No, watch it. For years we heard this. Jyotiraditya Scindia.
Because we were the pushers, yeah.
No, yet.
But we are not, they just started making money.
They may not have said it in your esteemed presence, but let me tell you what they said behind your back. They said for 4 years or 5 years that the reason we are in such a situation is because of Sitaram Yechuri and people like him. Because the moment we try to do something, they are professional agitationists who are within the government. This is how you were described. Now Jyotiraditya Scindia, the professional agitationist, is now out.
If they won the elections, that's
what held you back for 4 years? What held you back for 4 years? And what is your response to Ravi Shankar Prasad saying, don't become a student in your 10th year of governance?
Okay, so Arnab, I've not been able to listen to what most of the speakers have said because my line got disconnected. But let me just say this, because I heard the last part of what Sitaram Yechuri ji said and the first part of Ravi Shankar ji said. To Sitaram Yechuri ji, I would just respectfully suggest that you can't have your cake and eat it too. You talked about revenue foregone. That's to encourage investment into the infrastructure sector and many other sectors. It's very clear across the world that the public sector can't do it alone. You need to invite the private sector to come and...
All these incentives...
I did not interrupt you while you were speaking. I did not interrupt you while you were speaking. I did not interrupt you while you were speaking. As your younger colleague, I would expect you to not interrupt me while I'm speaking.
My dear, I'm helping you. I'm helping you.
Okay, so therefore, I think it's important to not look at the aspect of revenue foregone, but really look at engagement of the private sector. The government has done its bit in terms of ensuring inclusive growth, higher spends for education, for health, for rural development up 46% across the board, trying to engage the private sector by various mechanisms. The deepening of the bond market I talked about, the Cabinet Committee on Infrastructure. And as far as Ravi Shankar ji is concerned, all I can say to him is that our lowest growth rate in the 10 years of the UPA regime has been the highest growth rate of the NDA government. And I think that is my succinct response to Ravi Shankar ji.
That is not factually true.
Hello?
That's not
factually true.
Omkar Goswami says you're factually incorrect. Why?
The lowest growth rate of the NDA, of the UPA government is probably going to be 5% if the numbers post, which is not the highest growth rate of the NDA government, so it's not factually true.
Yeah.
It is factually true that the average growth rate of the first 5 years of the UPA government was 3% points higher than the average growth rate of the NDA government. It's also factually true that over this period, they've had a higher average growth rate.
But why going to averages? I think we are going into... how relevant are averages? Or why are we getting into this averages situation? I thought you nowadays look at averages...
That's the political point.
No,
That's the political point.
If you're going to go into semantics... Arnab, can I come back at that?
Where's the semantics here?
I don't know whether it's going to be 5% or 5.2%. But surely, our lowest growth rate has been the BJP's highest growth rate. If you look at the average of the UPA government has been 8% over the 11th plan period. In the last 6 years, out of 6 years, 4 years, we've achieved 9% GDP growth rate. So let's not take away from India's achievement, from the achievement of not only this government, but millions of entrepreneurs across this country.
What's coming from it?
Mr. Scindia, the question really is, are we going into 2014 elections now? It's too late in the day for you to correct yourself and begin to see the results of that on the ground for the people and for the party. The question really is, did you waste too much time?
Exactly.
How are you going to make up in the next 12 months? That's
That's the only question.
Well, we are going to go with our track record over... we are going to go to the people of India with our track record of the 5 years, of our approach of inclusive growth, successive economic growth, not withstanding this particular year, which has been 5.5%. I do agree it's been a difficult environment and a difficult year. We've tried to perform our best over this year. But the next fiscal, I certainly hope, will be above 6 to 6.5% growth rate.
Well, Mr. Prasad, last rebut from you. I only want to quip a little bit out here that the only people who compare averages in this kind are the number 8, number 9 and number 10 down in a cricket match, who say to each other, who's going to go next? And one person says, I should go next, I have a strike rate of 11. To which somebody says, but I have a strike rate of 12. It sounds like that. Don't make it like that. Ravi Shankar Prasad's last response, he was raising his hand at the...
Yes, I have to go to another channel. My very quick last response is this, that yes, we laid the foundation of growth, infrastructure, inflation under control, India's economy in a happy state. When we demitted office, they reaped the benefit for a couple of 2-3 years, and thereafter, their gross mismanagement overtook the entire economy. We are seeing the bad scenario which we are witnessing today. I would again
which is
like
why they've been voted out of power twice.
All these big dreams which my very good friend Jyotiraditya Scindia is talking about, how it is going to happen in the 10th year, which is the last year of this government, before the elections take place. Is there going to be any improvement? Is there going to be any delivery? Are they going to compensate for deficit of good governance? Are we not going to have a big scam again? There's a lot of imponderables. And when the finance minister realizes the imponderables, the lack of elbow room in which he operates, let's leave it at that. It is not a growth-oriented budget. It is just ad hocism and window dressing. Thank you.
I'll only say this to all the politicians today. Be careful when you import luxury cars, when you import motorcycles, when you drive them in Raisira Hill over 800cc, when you wag around your smartphones. Mr. Sitaram Yechuri,
I have no such problems.
Be careful.
I have no such problems.
Be careful about your cigars and
सबसे what you call Kirti cigarette.
Your cheap cigarette का भी भाव बढ़ गया.
Gentlemen, you're going to stop smoking after this? Do you stop smoking after this?
I did, but then I got back. You see, the whole point is in Sitaram's mouth you'll always find a charm.
Okay, gentlemen, the biggest surprise in this country of 1.2 billion people is that there are only 42,800 high net worth individuals. I just cannot believe that. The political debate continues. What was that taxing the super rich all about? How effective is it, given the situation that we are in? Ms. Jyotiraditya, thank you very much. Ravi Shankar Prasad, thank you very much. Back in 2 minutes.